Hi, let's talk about how to ace your exam that's coming up. The first thing you're going to do is read the textbook, obviously, the chapters that we're covering in the exam, okay? So this happens to be our intro textbook, but it could be any textbook. And the first thing that I would do is, after reading the chapter, when you're reviewing it for the exam, is look at the chapter objectives, typically at the beginning of the chapter, and the chapter summary at the end of the chapter. Let me tell you something. I look at those when I write exam questions, okay? So please do that. You're also going to want to pay attention to items that the publisher has bolded or put into a table or a graphic or somehow called to your attention, gone to extra effort to call to your attention. Again, those are points that the publisher thinks are important, and they're points that you should know. And this is really the process that we're talking about here, is you getting inside the head of the publisher, and more specifically inside the head of the person who's writing the exam. So let's be transparent, and let me tell you how it is I develop exam questions. Okay, first thing I do is read the chapter, paying attention particularly to the items I've just pointed out. Okay, the second thing I typically do in my classes is I create a PowerPoint, a presentation to go over. So when you think about this, when I create a PowerPoint, I can't put everything that's in the chapter in the PowerPoint. So what do? I filter it, and I try to pick out the most important points. So please watch the PowerPoints. Watch them again. They're posted. You can watch them anytime you like, and I encourage you, when you're preparing for the exam, to watch them again. When you do so, please, just like when you read the chapter, pay special attention to items that I've gone to the trouble to bold or point out and draw to your attention, because same thing, same rationale I just explained, okay? Next, I will sometimes create a video highlight, a video of me going over the PowerPoint presentation and talking about it. So if that's available in your course, I encourage you to watch it again. Finally, your quizzes. Now, we have chapter quizzes typically once per chapter. And think about this. When you think about that filtering process that I go through to create an exam, when I'm looking at a chapter and I'm coming up with a quiz of 10 questions, what am I going to pick to put in that quiz? I'm going to pick what I think are the most important points in that chapter. It's even more filtered and even narrower than what I could put in the PowerPoint or what I could talk about in the video. So those quiz questions are very important. They'll really give you insight into what I'm thinking when I read the textbook. What do I think is important? And let me give you a little spoiler here. You're going to see quiz questions repeated on the exam, because the same thing I thought was important when I wrote that quiz, I probably still think it's important when I'm writing the exam. So don't be surprised to see quiz questions repeated on the exam. So that's what you need to cover, okay? Read your textbook, paying particular attention to the items I highlighted, watch the PowerPoints and the video if there is one, and go over your quizzes, all right? The last thing I'll tell you is that cases are typically quite important. And remember, as I've said in class, you don't have to know the whole case, but I would like you to know the rule of each case, all right? And that can become particularly important in an exam, because what I often will do is create a scenario. I'll describe for you a factual scenario and ask you to apply the rule of a particular case to that factual scenario. If you know the rule of the case, that makes it a logical process that you can complete. If you don't know the rule of the case, you're in trouble. So you need to know the rules of the cases. All right. That's it for now, and thank you very much, and good luck on the exam.